Yes. This time I hope it works properly, and I know it will. So I think we are live now. Yes, I think now we are live. Sorry everyone for um, for closing and now opening again. We had a little bit of difficulties setting it up. This time, Denisa is not here. She's taking some time. She's not feeling so well, so she's going through um, the stuff that is going. And now it's us here, me, Revati, and Dani, and we're gonna discuss today about Sunday service. So yeah, let's do it. Good,
Yay!
good. So I know Revati wanted to speak first. If you want to say
Oh, no, just wanted to first welcome Danny here
yes,
to Undo Live. It's so
Oh,
nice to
you.
see her here. Yeah. And
yes,
yeah, go ahead.
Thank
yes. What?
you. Yeah, it feels very good to be here with you guys and with everyone who's watching. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's funny because like as we started, like someone started to knock my door, and I'm like, no, not right now. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
cool. So about yesterday's service, um it was so perfect with what was going on even here physically for me. I'm just gonna go right to the point. Um, because in India we were having a lockdown, so the complete country is shut down, and all of us were indoors. And I loved how Jeff talked about. He did not let go of the physical aspects that are important. Like even if we are spiritual beings, even if we have to look at this coronavirus from a spiritual point of view, it doesn't mean you neglect the physical precautions that we actually have to take. So that was something I kind of paid attention to that, because we would tend to be like, oh, sure, I can make a choice now I will not get affected by this virus. I am perfectly healthy. And then you go out and, stand next to a person who sneezes or something. It's not right. So, uh, anyway, um, about what was happening here was our prime minister gave us instructions that like for a particular time period, for 5 minutes, we were all supposed to start bringing our bells out and any plates and start clapping. All the citizens of the country had to do this. So we would, exactly at 5 p.m., everybody started clapping. All It was amazing to watch the neighborhood. And um, they brought out their pans and spoons, and you're banging on the metals, and you're uh, like ringing the bells, and people are um, playing music also, which was devotional music. So it it reminded me of how like it's an ancient science to have sound vibrations ward off viruses or ward off negative energies. So like even that's why temples have bells. So when we that's why a devotee who would go to a temple does not only ring the bell as in devotion to God, but it had like scientific meaning behind it. So the people who would like, for example, like the certain metals made um, the bells are made of. So when you ring it, it's the vibrations are very healing, and they kill the bacteria or any of these microorganisms. Um, and there were people who were clueless about this. They were like, what the hell is happening? Why are you behaving crazy, coming out with your pans and pots and banging. But this was so important. It's like this coronavirus made us come like interiorize as a country, interiorize ourselves and to come back to our own values. So like people, even if they're Indians, they forget that uh, we have these ancient sciences which we follow for like so many years, but don't know the meaning of. And yeah, there's something else I want to say. Yeah, in the movie, if you guys have watched the movie Spider-Man 3, you know the villain in that movie, the sticky black
Venom.
thingy, Venom, yeah.
Venom. And I
So
have a cup. I have a cup with it, so we can
oh my
see it
god,
pretty.
yeah. So I remember the last scene when Spider-Man he wants to kill this Venom, and he you know he sticks those bars, those metal bars, and starts banging on it, and then the Venom just dies in between. It was like the power of sound is enough to kill this.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like this was a very intelligent move by our prime minister. Um, it it's like everybody came together. The news channels were filled with every state, every even like uh, the what do you
Yeah.
say? The destitutes, like the homeless people who are living on streets, they themselves would participate. Like they would also join in, and it was like this unified thing. And it felt like that's what Jeff said. Like this coronavirus is not. It's a call for us to unite. It's not, it was a previous choice for of us of separation that this manifested now. Yeah, so it was really beautiful to see like how our country can show up, like a country's soul is seen in these kind of crisis times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And that's really amazing. Like, it's interesting how your country reacts to coronavirus and how like how you deal with it there and how you're coming together. And yes, you see how everyone comes together through the internet right now. Everyone on the internet being together with the coronavirus, and I really enjoyed the discussion, and it really helped me as well to understand better the perspective when Jeff was sharing about corona and the meaning of it, and how not being afraid of it,
Mm-hmm.
and but actually in the same time really respecting their, like, putting a safe boundary. And at first I was like, okay, now I understand what does it mean. You're not afraid, but you're putting a boundary, and by protecting yourself in that way, taking the measurements that you need, you actually help everyone in that manner. And it was really interesting to see from that perspective of helping everyone by just taking care of yourself. Again, like you first, and then everyone, and in that way, it is like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. And I also pay like close attention to that part where Jeff was saying, like take care of yourself, use all the precautions that you need, but, don't fall into the fear. And I love when he said, like, if you're afraid, that's the worst thing you can do, right? Because to me also, like, the coronavirus is like, the fear that, like, it's kind of like tempting for everybody to just fall into it. But this is when you have to really surrender more and to realize that it's just, it cannot do anything to you if you choose to love yourself. And like by choosing to love yourself, you're actually taking all the precautions, and and that's it, really. That's that. And all the meaning, like, to me, the service really helped me like ground, everything around the coronavirus, I feel like Jeff and Shalia really touched every single part that needed to be talked, and it was complete, right? Like it was very complete, everything they said. And even when they talk about the toilet paper thing, like how people do that out of like fear, right? Like there is not really a reason. And you know, like we don't need to really understand why that happens. It's just like a reaction from like fear. It's just getting everyone together. Like now everybody is just, you know, like getting the toilet paper thing and everything. But to me, everything brings us to what Jeff and Shalia were saying, that is to be together, to be united, right? To Ravati was saying that too, like to be like to be together, to be as one. And that's what we are right now, right? Like it doesn't matter where you're from. Now we are all one. We are all going through the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. Everybody has to be at home. Everybody. So to me, it was like, you know, coronavirus really telling everybody like, go home, folks. Like, you know, time to be at home, time to look within, be with yourself, you know, value your core values, and stay there, right? Like, what do you want to choose? Do you want separation? Do you want love? You know, like what is it that you want? And what Jeff and Shalia were saying, that like by people like singing in the balconies, you know, like in Italy and in Spain, they are all choosing, they're all saying, you know, like, oh, we all want to be together. We all want to be one. And that's very beautiful. That's very beautiful to me. I was definitely, you know, feeling some fear the last days, because in my country, I'm from Ecuador, and in my country, we had like I wouldn't say like a lot of cases, but it's not also like few cases, right? So it's like kind of like, so, and considering that like this is like a third world country, everyone was freaking out, and they were like, oh, if this spreads, then what is gonna happen here? Like we are not gonna handle this, we're gonna die. And you know, like all of this fear and all of this anxiety. And so to me, it was just a call for action, right? Like you know, it's about, you know, focusing on like maybe you're gonna die, but it's about like realizing that you're eternal, and that, you know, what is it that you want to choose, right? Like do you want to choose to feed the, you know, the fear, or do you want to choose to stay in your presence with God, even though there is this virus going on, which is not really a bad thing, considering that it's just part of like a earth's karma, right? I was talking yesterday night with my father, and we were like, how, you know, the earth is cleaning itself right now, because there is no smog, there is nothing, like even airplanes, like there is literally nothing. So the earth is really cleaning itself. So it has a lot of beautiful things also, you know, happening. And yeah, I feel like in a way this is a beautiful opportunity also for all of us to really respect our home earth more, and to take care of it, because, you know, no matter where you are, earth is our home for everybody. And so this I think like Shalia also mentioned that in a way, when she said that, like, you know, this is also helping the climate changing, you know. So it's a very just I'm starting to see the beauty behind this, you know, like how it's really helping everybody. It's really showing the choice, what Jeff said, right? It's like this is showing the choice that like we've been making as, like, you know, nations. Like, okay, we want to be separate. Okay, there you go, you're separate. Right? This is what you want? No, this is not what you want. You want to be together. Good, that's it, right? Then just go that way, like move forward there, and that's it. There is no reason to fear. Of course, to be very, you know, to take care of yourself, like you were saying, Lorenzo, like, you know, take all the precautions, but then not to really fear. And what I was doing when, you know, when I was experiencing like being like very peaceful and being okay with it, and then the fear will come, right? Like, oh, but like what if I got it, and what if something happened or stuff like that. But it was just for me, it was just using the logic and just realizing that the power of my choice, and that if I chose not to get it, and if I really stand strong in that, because I like something that Jeff said, and he was like, we chose not to allow coronavirus here because we want to spread love. We don't want to slow down. I love when he said that, because that's exactly what I feel. I was like, it's not compassionate. Like, I want to keep expanding. I want to keep spreading God's love, right? So I don't choose that. And also, I feel like this is an opportunity for everybody to really connect deeper with the power of your choice, right? Like, to really trust that, to realize how powerful your choice is. And that doesn't mean that, like, oh, I choose not to, I choose to be healthy, but if I go outside, I'm not going to take care of myself, like, that's not the way, right? Like, it's like, take care of yourself, of course. So it's all together. So I feel like there are so many collective blocks that are being healed and that are being purged right now, and that feels very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love what you shared, and yeah, it's really really interesting how so many things we're healing like at once. I mean, definitely
Yeah.
everyone is just going through so many blocks about everything, about food. Now with Divine Dish as well, like how it is like really like with Divine Dish. I just went before the service to buy uh 1 week for the Divine Dish for this week, let's say. And I was like, it took me a lot of time though, because it's the first time buying so many things for Divine Dish. But thinking to have like for 1 week already food without having to go out every moment right now, it's very very useful, and have all the ingredients, not having to think what ingredients they go in what and how much quantity. So it really helped me to see that. So it helps me to heal things about food, a lot of things about food. And I guess in the world, like, this is a big thing now, like food. Do we have enough food? Is everything okay? Of course, toilet paper. my I heard about like ordering from Amazon as well toilet paper. So that's another thing that you can do. So that was quite funny to hear. But we're learning that we can do stuff without having to put so much energy into like going out to get all the things done. And actually, like, for me, it feels very good to understand how to do this better, because before this thing happening and Divine Dish, I was going like twice a week or maybe 3 times to the store. So I was going quite a lot, like you could say even twice in a day. So, but I'm learning now that I don't have to go as much outside to buy everything, to just take care of everything. So for me, it's a big lesson about food. Because anyway, I was staying in home. Anyway, I'm staying at home because the like I'm working from home. I'm doing a lot of stuff from home. So anyway, I would be in home. Of course, I would go still out for a walk or something like that. But most of the times, I'm in home, and actually, it's pretty fun because you have a lot of things to do, like a lot of mirror exercise that you can do as well.
That's true. Yeah, I love what you mentioned about food. Like, that's so important as well. Like, in my case too, like, I heal that as well, because you know, when you're rushing, or when you're just like, doing your thing, it's so easy for you to just go to the next, to the store next door, and just grab like snacks. And then you don't realize how many snacks you're feeding yourself, and not really healthy, not really, like, very good food. So Divine Dish is really like a very good solution for that, right? Like I started my Divine Dish officially today. Like, I made my breakfast too, and it feels so good, and I felt so complete with everything that I ate, and I was tasting the food, and I was like really feeling how, like, that really nourished me, and that felt very good. And being at home, and not being able to go to the next door to just grab something to the little market, it's very good, because it makes you think, like, how do you want to feed yourself as well? Like, what do you want to put into your body, right? Like, um how do you want to take care of yourself? So it takes, yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Because when you guys mentioned about staying indoors, I just it felt like people here are so most of them are used to maybe going out or ordering stuff. Now it's like you're made to stay at home and cook and go back to traditional ways of living, and it's so healthy. It's not your like sedentary lifestyle. Like it's active. It's like going back to your roots way of living. And like even here in India, like I would see that suddenly everyone's talking about if they're having meetings, there's no longer handshake, so everyone's like namaste, and everyone's just going back to their original, like the roots of the country. And it was a joke, but I see how nature like brings you back to uh, your own nature. Like you somehow with through crisis you're made to come back to your roots. And I feel like same thing is happening like right now. Mm. And like even related to romance, I was having my romance attraction discussion today, and I was speaking to Lou, and he was telling me that like how it is in his country in Saudi Arabia. And when a country putting up borders and having strict boundaries is so healthy, like suddenly everyone is very caring, very protective of their own people. And it feels like you see that, like Jeff also talked about the government later on, where it's like you see the people's consciousness reflect in the government, and how the government takes care of its people is the reflection of how people taking care of each other. um and yeah, and he's like how people with close communities have large number of cases, like the affected people. So he said like the Italy has a high rate of people getting affected because they're so close, like their families, and they're very close as a culture. So that was very interesting to see that that's also like a component that works in this kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
and even like from where it started from China, it's as Jeff said, it's not to guilt them and say like, oh, it's your fault that this happened, but to understand where they come from and the compassion, and to have compassion for them, like have compassion even from Italy of on how things are going there, but really getting to the root of like healing this separation that we as a
Mm.
consciousness, the planet we chose to, and now we're just healing and upheaving in it, and it's actually very good. And I I do see how we're upheaving a lot of things because of this, and each country right now is getting much more clearer and much more united. And I really loved how he said about the United States, how there were two parties that always like they were like head in head and they were not really getting together, and now because of this crisis they're just getting along, they just go and meet each other in love, and that's really beautiful to see that that's happening. And like without this, like things would they wouldn't have done it. So now we're pushed a bit to the limit to be in love, to choose love. We cannot do anything else than choose love. We have no control over corona. We have no power to just say, okay, uh, I'm gonna stop corona. We cannot stop it. It's already in. But what we can do is choose love now and kind of come together even more and learn to be more compassionate with each other. And yeah, as he said, protecting yourself with the layers, as they were saying, like their process in the house. I was like, oh my god, their process is quite interesting. Of like going, getting home, like having the first clean, and then like having more stages of like cleaning stuff on yourself, so you can when you go into your home, you're just clean and you know like everything is okay. And I kind of started applying something like that in my life as well, so I can help myself not be like slowed down by by corona, but in this way I'm protecting everyone else, because right now, at least for me and Alexandra, I'm going more outside, so I don't want to do something and kind of like Alexandra to have to be infected or something like that. There's no point in us going in that direction and stopping each other for that, stopping ourselves too uh, from like whatever we desire. And um, I see even in my country how like we're having alerts on our phone, like staying home. Like even my telephone SIM card, it has like a sign with like a hashtag staying home thing that every phone has right now. And I'm like, that's kind of funny, that's kind of interesting. So they're coming, I see countries coming together in their own way to really protect, to really like be safe. And I can see how us as an individual, we help the whole community, as Jeff was mentioning, as he's doing that into his home. He's helping the whole community that he is in, and just by him being like that, it's gonna stand true to the like showing to the world what the world really needs and how the world wants to be loved, actually.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm. I don't.
Mm.
I got a lot of things out now, so I'm like grounding myself. I was combining. I mean, combining. I was speaking about like the individual and the community, how they come together right now, and I really enjoy
Mm.
seeing this happening. So
Yeah. I was seeing that even like personally in my home, it would feel like a lot of energy, romantic energy building up. So it's like even when with your loved ones, like with your twin flame, you can feel very close. You even the like for example, Michaela is with her twin flame, and she is being made to quarantined with his family. So I was just seeing that it like even your bonding with your twin would be so much more closer, more intimate. So yeah, just like that came up.
Yeah, it's yeah, that happens because like Lorenzo was saying, you know, like you're forced to choose love, right? Like it's not like you're forced, but like you either choose love or you are in hell, pretty much, right? Like so by choosing love, you can just feel good, and so you know, by choosing love yourself, by choosing to be home with yourself, with God within, you are automatically you are with your twin flame there, right? And so everything starts to unfold naturally from that place where you are very present with you, with your twin flame, with God. And that's very beautiful. Yeah, I love how Michaela and Jose like are really showing that, like sharing that. It's very nice, you know, how they are like getting to know each other more, even though they know each other since they were created. You know, they're just exploring more of each other and like more of who they are, right, as one. And so that feels very good, and that is very beautiful as well. Yeah.
um, by the way, like I saw Lou made a heart, purple heart on the chat. Just wanted to say, probably when you were speaking, Pravati. So,
Oh, that's sweet.
and by the way, thank you everyone for being here and watching.
Mm.
We're seeing you. No one has commented yet. More like Sydney said greetings, or like at the beginning, like Stephanie was like, "Hey, Danny's here," or like I have someone. I think that's hi from Quebec, Canada. I don't know if I spelled it right. Sorry if I butchered that.
Oh, Canada.
But yeah,
That is sweet.
So even now, like
Right.
we're coming probably from different countries to just watch this, and
Mm.
even the service was like online, and that's something that
Mm.
Jeff was speaking, that it's so nice. We're so
Mm.
blessed that we have the community online, because in this moment we're prepared for this. We just stay home and like already everything is normal
Yeah.
for us already. So
Mm.
that's really beautiful to see how we are already like online in this way, and you didn't have to change much our lifestyles. At least us who are in, at least me, I know, being in the community, and uh,
Yeah.
just being part of this and just doing the stuff here, just doing everything here with
Mm.
with my friends online. Most of them like are just online, and it's actually really nice because we're very together. It's much more easier, because I was thinking like how much time it takes to go to someone's house from your house, how much time it takes to just do all these trips, do all these things. So in this way you don't have to worry about how late you leave from someone's place, how how much you stay there, because you're in your house and you're speaking with someone, so you can just leave and then you just go to make food, so you don't waste any time. And so we're we're really shown how to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny when you were mentioning that, being online with your friends. Like I see on my Instagram how, a lot of people who are not from the community, like people that I know, are like, posting like, how they are doing Zoom with their friends, and like, oh, they feel like whatever, this is so cool. Like, we're learning this and that. And to me, it's so normal, like it's just part of who I am right now. It's like, and it's, yeah, and like it feels like I'm humbled by that, right? Like it feels very good that like I'm already, it's kind of like it's the feeling of being aligned with what's going on right now, of I mean, more than what's going on is like being aligned with like the choice of love, right? Being to choose love, right? So like it's kind of like more smooth because I made that choice already, right? And so we all made that choice, who are like us who are here, right? And so it feels so good, um, to realize that the connection is in the heart, because that's really what's going on, right? Like now that everybody has to stay home and not, you cannot see your loved ones or your friends or anything, like you realize that the connection is in your heart, and that's something that this community has always shown since it was created. That's what I feel here, right? Like I feel connected with everyone, and it feels very good. It feels, um, yeah, and it shows, like I was saying, the connection from your heart, how that's where everything is, right? So it takes you back again to go within, to realize that that's where the answers are. That's where everything is. That you don't need anything from the outside. Everything is on the inside. Everything you can find within. Absolutely everything, right? And so that feels very good, because that's where you find, true friendships, true, your twin flame, your core values, your healthy boundaries. Because also, what I'm realizing is that now that like everybody is locked with their families as well, I mean, it's very beautiful, but at the same time, it's challenging, because you have to put your boundaries, right? Like you have to set your boundaries, and everybody's right now, of course, like is going through that, and realizing that you really have to do that, right? Like that's something that I was healing, that like I'm with my parents, with my sister, like everybody's here, and so it was challenging to see how, uh, when they try to break through your blocks, using as like, oh, this is through your boundaries, meaning like, oh, right now we get to do what we want because we are all together, and you just have to do this, right? And so it's like, no, 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 like you have to really set boundaries, and always put yourself first. Because what I was also hearing is like, with families, is that sometimes because it's family, we allow a lot of things, and that's not really healthy, right? Like it's always healthy to love yourself first, to put yourself first, to go within, to stay present with yourself. And that's what this situation is taking all of us, right? Like it's you, it's all about you, because you are self quarantine, and at some point you are gonna realize that it's you who matters the most. It's you who, who you have to value first. And so from that place you can really experience life, you can really experience love, you can experience earth, right? Because there is no such a thing. Also, what's coming to me is like there is no such a thing as freedom if it's not coming from within, right? Like, because like, you can either feel like, if you're self quarantined, you can feel that like you're in jail, or you can feel that like you're free anyway, right? And that all comes from within. There's not, so it's so beautiful. Like that's a gift. So what I'm feeling right now is, um, what a gift we are receiving from all of this experience, that everybody is seeing like, oh no, this is, the worst. It's, if you really choose to see the gift, um, it's a big one, and God is really loving everyone, and God is not abandoning everyone, right? Anyone, like God is there for absolutely everyone. um, and so it's just up to up to people to really choose if you want to feel God, if you want to feel his presence. um, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, just taking it in. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's really showing you about the family and everyone. Like, just it's okay to put boundaries even in this situation. Doesn't make any excuse to not put boundaries, healthy boundaries right now.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And like, the what I was saying about like really being with God, and like just what popped into my mind was like, earlier, like I woke up, and like, I was watching videos, and then a video of like an old lady just crying, and feeling like we need help, and like from Spain, I think, and like really really like feeling bad. And so they say in this video you're about to see the sad, a lot of sadness and blah, and then I just stopped watching the video. But the thing is, even if you are in that situation, right, you can always choose to be with God. Like God is not outside you, right? Like even if you're going through that moment, like that doesn't mean that God has abandoned you, right? if
Hmm.
we if we if we think that, like, this is karma, this is earth's karma, this is not like God punishing people, right? This is not God saying like, oh, I'm gonna punish you because of this. Like that's not what God is, right? Like God is just love. So this is God just saying like, okay, this is just, the choice that you guys made, this is it. Okay, I love you guys, and he's there for everybody, even if people are going through whatever, like he's there. And so like I feel like this is an invitation for the world to really see God, right? Like I was
Hmm.
thinking at the beginning, I was like, right now everybody feels so vulnerable, everybody, the entire planet. I don't like, it's like I don't care who you are, whether you are like a doctor, a scientist, whatever you are, you feel vulnerable. And that only means that, like, the vulnerability can really take you and lead you to God if you choose that. And being the situation that everybody has to be self quarantine, then you have no choice but to really humble yourself to the love of God, and that's where the peace is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And how Jeff was saying that, even if the choice that we made was separation, anyway we received the love there, but we have to be willing to see it. If we're not willing to see the love in the situation right now, we're not going to be able to see it. But as we're choosing to see that, oh yes, there is love in this situation of crisis, we will see God there clearly, and God is with us in that moment. Because even if like it looks separating us, it brings us all much closer together. As you said, that vulnerability is bringing us closer. That's really beautiful. Mm.
Yeah, amen. Hmm.
That's so beautiful. Mhm.
Yeah,
Amen. Yeah.
Mm.
And
yeah, that feels very good.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. And I want to say that I think a while ago, like Mariette said, like we are grounding with you. Probably when I said that, I was grounding. And Lone L. Oh my God.
Luna.
Okay, okay. Said hello, Danny.
Oh, hi Luna. I
Oh,
love her.
Luna.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a live student from Wednesday 1 p.m.
Mm.
That's how I know her very well.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I remember. Hmm.
Yeah. She's a
Mhm.
badass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Very good to know that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what other insights did stood up from from Jeff and Shelia's sermon?
Hmm. Like for me, I loved what Danny said about like it's really really making you see God. You just have to see God in the situation. And even when Jeff said, he's like, God already provided you with everything. You uh, and that everything is you. So like he created you, and therefore you already have everything inside you. Uh, like this whole thing is has such a greater purpose to it. It's so beautiful, like really purifying us completely, like externally, even internally. It's very beautiful. Mm.
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm. A lot of purifying going on the planet,
Mm.
but it's really nice. We're safe, and a sound scream from Revati. Very safe. Thank you for the feedback, Revati.
Oh God.
Don't worry, it's good. We need a little bit of laughing here. Like we
Yes,
don't have to be that serious. So yeah.
yes, it's quite
So
mandatory.
yes, and that scream seemed more like from a kid that is playing outside and doesn't really care
Hmm.
about what's happening. And
Yeah.
that's another
Yes.
thing. Like it's safe. Like even if you're young, because Jeff was mentioning this. Like even if you're young and you think, oh, I cannot get corona, and oh, like I'm gonna go to parties, I'm going to go to the beach or whatever I'm gonna go, and nothing can happen to me. Well, that's very responsible because like not thinking about the older people that they are more affected about this, and it's much easier for them to go through this. And even you exposing yourself to something like this, to a risk, it's like really damaging for you. So it's like not that healthy in any way. So really that brought into perspective to not think, oh, to not be selfish, to show you what is selfishness and what is like taking care of yourself. Because if you think, you can think like, oh, I'm just thinking about myself, and like I'm good, I'm healed, like I'm with God, so I will go wherever and I'm not gonna get anything. Well, that's arrogance, because God won't guide you to do that, because won't guide you to go in a place maybe you have get corona, you're not affected, you don't have any problem, let's say everything is okay, but you cross near an elderly person and that person just takes it from you, and then like they're very affected by that. So God wouldn't guide that in the first place. So that means that we have to really take care of ourselves. In taking care of ourselves, we take care of everyone and respect everyone no matter where they are. And like even today when I went to shopping, I was a bit more like careful, even around people in the shop, So I was like giving space there. I was according more there because I didn't want it. Like even if I'm young, even if okay things are the way I are, I still used every bit of protection for myself so I could protect others in that way. So to
Mhm.
be safe. Yeah. So yeah, stay safe.
Such a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just brought up for me about responsibility. Like it's just you just had to be responsible for yourself,
Mm.
and being just that was enough to be responsible for somebody else. Like that, just me being responsible for myself made sure that others were received that as well automatically. Yeah, it's nice. Mm.
Yeah. And even for like, what Jay was saying, like these some people who are saying like, oh, it's okay, like, if I get it, like whatever, like I'm gonna party anyway. It's like you don't really want to get it. Like nobody really wants to feel like shit, nobody really wants that, like you want to feel healthy, you want to feel that you can breathe, right? Like that you can really yeah, fresh air, and that you want to feel alive.
Mm.
That's really what everybody really desires.
Oh, that's such a good point. Like I also paid attention to that when Jeff said it. He's like, you really don't want to get that. And I would be that kind of person who'd be like, oh yeah, like before I would just lower the value of illness. And in doing that, I was kind of like choosing it. I was saying, oh, that's okay to be sick. It's okay to not feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
And even like before, when Danny, you said like it's really making us to take care of ourselves and to choose ourselves first. That's what came up for me. It's like it's such a core choice to just feel good. Like I was realizing this for me these few days, that the option of not feeling good is no it's not open anymore. Like you only need to choose what feels good to you and what is like healthy for you. That felt good. That was really nice.
Amen. Yeah. It's like as you were saying that, I had like just Jeff in my mind saying like choose perfection, like don't settle. Like you are not meant to settle. Like you are meant to choose perfection. You are perfect, right? Like so it's related to that, right? Like you don't have to settle with feeling not so well, right? Like there is no point. I remember in one of the classes that I recently watched, he was like, if you are not feeling good, then keep loving yourself and doing what it takes to feel good. Like it's not okay for you to settle to feel so, right? Like you are meant to feel good all the time. And that's what you have to pursue, right? So that's I feel like that's what you're saying right now. And that feels very good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Thank you. That's so perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect. And we have a comment from Claudia, and it's thanks for this. Some spiritual persons have here are saying they are not giving the virus power because they are vibing high and keep on organizing reunions of people to pray and meditate. Well, that's kind of yeah, that's actually kind of funny if you think about it, but in the same time it's not, because they're just exposing themselves for more corona. Instead of being responsible, they can meditate from home, like on video chat, and then that will be much better.
Yeah, it's silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Silly,
silly.
yes, that's the word, silly.
Yeah,
Silly.
very silly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that really resonates with what Jeff said. It's like there's a difference between like not giving power to it and being stubborn about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can choose not to give power to it by choosing to be at peace no matter what. But if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're just being stubborn, right? And no, again, like nobody really wants to be stubborn, because that's not who we are. We're just love and we're peace.
Yes. We're just love, we're just peace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's safe to have a relationship with the world in the way that God guides us. Because this is, again, I see it as a relationship as well, because God is pointing us to have a relationship with Him in a certain way, and it's safe to surrender to that way.
Oh my God, that feels so good. That's so true. Yeah,
So
that's
good.
literally it. God is saying, okay, this is like, yeah, this is where I am right now. Like, um, that feels very good.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. It just came to me now, so it
That
feels
was
good.
that was
It's a
channel.
thing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess this is more like, it feels more like complete for me with this. I know for you.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I feel like it's a very good way to like ground everything with what you said, Lorenzo. Like it is safe to surrender to the way God wants to have a relationship with the world right now. Amen.
Mm.
Soon,
Amen.
I mean, it's really been very like has a lot of benefits from this, but anyway, yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you all for joining us. And if there are more questions, we're gonna answer them like, like we're gonna write there. But otherwise, thank you all for joining and being part of this. Thank you, Danny, for joining us the first time and for many more times to go.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you're
And
welcome, and thank you for having me here.
thank you. And thank you, Revati, as well, for being here as
Thank
well.
you.
And hopefully next week we'll see Denisa here.
Yes.
So thank you all. And that was perfect, Revati. Thank you all. And beep, beep. So,
That was God call.
yes.
That was God saying, "Hi guys, thank you, love you."
Yes. So see you next week. Bye
See
bye.
you next week. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.